AM, the Superstation, Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, November 29th, 2020, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well today. It's been a very busy week, and we know we had Thanksgiving also this past Thursday. And then we were here Friday for our Friday night show. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, and then on Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time also. So it's been a very busy week, and you all have seen some of my Facebook posts also, and it's been since Friday, busy since Friday's show. All right, so we're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, also on our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. So if everyone's doing well, everybody share this broadcasting on social media platforms, invite your friends to tune in. So we're going to talk about the National Day of Mourning. I dealt with this some Friday. Friday, we talked about the real history of Thanksgiving from the Native American perspective, the history of Thanksgiving from the Native American perspective. And that is, you can watch that full broadcast at our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, Imhotep. We're going to rebroadcast that also. So we're going to talk about the National Day of Mourning, which is what many Americans celebrate, and they celebrate it in Plymouth, Massachusetts, at a statue. At least part of it is at a statue of the Wampanoag Native American chief Massasoit. And we know Plymouth, Massachusetts, this is where the people who we call the Pilgrims were in 1621. So we'll deal some with the National Day of Mourning. Then we're going to talk some about what's been taking place with these lawsuits that Donald Trump keeps filing. The attorneys keep filing on his behalf, and it's getting thrown out of court because they lack evidence. Okay. And then there was a recount that took place in Wisconsin. Okay. Now, poor little Donald Trump couldn't afford to pay the $8 million to have all of to have the full recount in the state of Wisconsin. Okay. So they did a recount of 2 counties in Wisconsin, cost $3 million. And Joe Biden actually picked up votes. Okay. So is not going too well for Donald Trump. And we all know Joe Biden won. Joe Biden, he's up about 5.5, 6 million popular votes, 306 electoral college votes. It's a wrap. Okay, it's over. And basically everybody knows this except Trump. All right. So we'll talk about that. We posted an article from the USA Today dealing with the recount in Wisconsin. Then we see the lawsuit in Pennsylvania that was thrown out. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court threw out another lawsuit from Donald Trump, another baseless lawsuit, just ridiculous. Okay. And in Georgia, you have people in Georgia, you have Republicans in Georgia asking, well, why should we keep donating money to these 2 Republicans who are running for the Senate in Georgia? Senator David Perdue in Georgia and Senator Kelly Loeffler, both Republicans. Why should we keep donating money to them? And why should we come out and vote when you keep telling us the election is a fraud? They're saying this to Donald Trump. They're saying this to Republicans who keep saying, oh, the Georgia election was rigged, and the election between Trump and Joe Biden was rigged, and all this. They're like, well, why should we keep donating money if you're telling us it's rigged? Why should we vote in the January 5th runoff election for the Senate if you keep telling us it's rigged? So Trump's baseless election fraud claims in Georgia turned Senate runoffs into a high wire act for Republicans. Washington Post has a big article about this from November 29th. Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And the lawsuit that was thrown out in Pennsylvania is really interesting, because when Trump goes to court and his attorneys go to court, they're not alleging voter fraud. because there was no widespread voter fraud, and they're not presenting evidence of widespread voter fraud either, because it doesn't exist. Okay, they're talking about irregularities and a bunch of nonsense, but they're not alleging widespread voter fraud, contrary to popular belief. All right, so we'll talk about that. Then November 26th, I did not get a chance to talk about this on the November 26th show. Well, November 26th was Thanksgiving. We didn't broadcast on Thanksgiving. Okay, November 26th, 1861. West Virginia became a state in 1861 and authorized slavery. West Virginia became a state. So you had a portion of Virginia that separated to form the state of West Virginia. All right, we're going to talk about that history. That took place November 26, 1861. This was during the U.S. Civil War. This is during the U.S. Civil War. Okay, Civil War starts April 12, 1861. So we'll talk about that. And then we know that the day after Thanksgiving is Native American Heritage Month. Native American Heritage Month. There was a good article from USA Today. I think we talked about this a little bit on our Friday show. November offers national platform to talk about indigenous culture and tradition. We also saw that coronavirus, we surpassed 13 million coronavirus cases in the past a couple of days. So this is spreading very quickly. The infection rate is increasing, and people traveling for Thanksgiving and going to other people's houses for Thanksgiving and things like this. This is making things worse. This is causing everything to spread much faster. We saw, there was an article I saw from Huffington Post. Dr. Anthony Fauci was interviewed, and he talked about, he warns of a surge upon a surge as millions travel over the holidays. Dr. Anthony Fauci warns about a surge upon a surge as millions travel over the holidays. Now, just so people who don't understand, just so you understand, winter is not here yet. Winter is not here yet. Winter does not officially come until December 20th, between December 20th and December 22nd. Okay, it's the winter solstice. Okay, it can fall between December 20th, 21st, some cases early in the morning, December 22nd. Winter is not here yet. When winter gets here and Christmas gets here, okay, it's going to be even worse. Because as it gets colder, people retreat indoors more. They're in closer proximity to one another. It allows coronavirus to spread easier, and it's going to allow the flu to spread also. So we and we're going to have to brace ourselves, because this is going to get much worse. We've had, I think now, probably 23 straight days of 100,000 new cases a day or more. And we know that about 21 to 22 days after you see a spike in cases, you see a spike in deaths. So if you've had 23 straight days of 100,000 new cases or more, then you probably going to have about, you're going to have 3-4 weeks of spikes in deaths. These are models that you look at to predict what's coming, to prepare for it. So it's going to be a bad Christmas, I think. But anyway, all right. So we'll talk about that also. We'll give an update briefly on what's going on with coronavirus, and then today is Don Cheadle's 56th birthday. Today is Don Cheadle's 56th birthday. Now, last week and the week before, we talked about Donald Trump not wanting to sign off on the National Defense Authorization Act, because there's a portion of the act that would rename military bases named after Confederate heroes and Confederate soldiers. Okay. And Secretary of Defense Mark Esper, who Trump fired, supports renaming these bases. So we played a clip from the Golden Girls, 1988. Now I realize, I was in 11th grade when that came out, but we played a clip from the Golden Girls, 1988, and it was dealing with a dispute over the Confederate battle flag of Northern Virginia, or what a lot of people call the Confederate flag. And there was a young African-American man who was on that show. His name was Don Cheadle. So we're going to revisit that clip again. I've had a lot of people ask me about that clip. So since this is Don Cheadle's birthday, we're going to revisit that clip also. And it's very informative. I mean, because you go back and you listen to the debate that was taking place in 1988. This is the same debate taking place today, which is an example of how many Americans are ignorant of history. Many Americans are ignorant of history. Okay. And Erica Watson said her birthday's coming up tomorrow. Happy birthday to Erica Watson. Okay. How you doing, Erica? On Facebook. All right. So people, you follow us on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and my YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep, IMHOTEP on YouTube. Then also today is the birthday of Chadwick Boseman. And we know Chadwick Boseman passed away a few months ago. He was born in 1976. Okay. So he would have been 46 today. I think we've been 40s today. And yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about Chadwick Boseman. You see, I have my Black Panther shirt on. This one has Chadwick Boseman on it as T'Challa. So I was trying to figure out what should I wear for the show today. And I said, okay, I need to wear my Black Panther T'Challa t-shirt since it's Chadwick Boseman's birthday. Because I got to figure out after putting the show together, then I have to figure out, okay, what the hell am I going to wear for the show? So that's a whole nother process. All right. All right. So if you want me to wear a t-shirt or something like that to promote your business or what have you, email me at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com, customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. We can look at that. And I have some africanhistorynetwork.com t-shirts. I need to pull those out. Okay. I need to pull them out, press them. There's a whole nother process. A lot of times I just grab stuff that's already pressed, but that's a whole nother conversation. So I need to start wearing my africanhistorynetwork.com t-shirts as well. All right. So we'll discuss that on today's show and maybe squeeze in some other topics also. Now on the African History Network show, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now it's corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. What you think about yourself is based upon what you have been taught about yourself. What you've been taught about yourself is based upon everything you've read, heard, and seen about yourself. So when you control the radius of a man's thoughts, you can control the circumference of his actions, because the mind can't do or teach what it doesn't know. Now, we deal with a number of different topics here on the African History Network show. We deal with current events, economic empowerment, entrepreneurship, relationships, love, sex, health issues, and much, much more. Speaking of sex, did y'all see the interview I did with Kenya K. Stevens of the Progressive Love Academy? We did sex talk with Kenya K. Stevens, the Diva Deep Dive, exploring the pleasure within. Did y'all see that? Okay, is at The African History Network on Facebook and Michael Imhotep on YouTube. Okay, be sure to check that out. We're gonna rebroadcast it after this show. That was a very, very good interview. That's what people told me. It's a very good interview I did, and it dealt with it dealt with women taking control of their sexuality and being able to enjoy sex. Let's put it like that. Okay. So check that out. Okay. And then check out our website. Check her out, Progressive Love Academy on Facebook and Instagram, and check out their website, progressiveloveacademy.com. But we got some special information right on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network, and our YouTube channel, Michael Imhotep. You can check out those broadcasts there. And she has a special promotion also for Black Friday through Cyber Monday. All right. If you like this type of information, you could donate to the African History Network. $, the AHN Show through Cash App. $, the AHN Show through Cash App. Then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show. And at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button. So since we're here 6 days a week now, as of October 12th, instead of 1 day a week, we're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight, and Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. So that the donations really help out. And when you purchase our DVD lectures and digital downloads, that really helps out. That helps us to stay on the air and keep doing the research, finance the show, etc. All right, we're coming up on a break. Calling numbers 313-778-7600. 313-778-7600. It's a calling number if you have a question or comment. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation of Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Have you tasted the world famous No Frowny yet from the Pink Bakery? If not, what are you waiting for? They are gluten-free, free of the big 8s. Well, they're No Frowny brownies. Miss Tabitha Brown said they were very, and you know, it's that they are. The Pink Bakery is the first black big allergen-free bake mix company. Go to the.com, that's .com, to order Frowny Brownie.
So my name is Kenya K. Stevens. I teach a class called the Diva Deep Dive. I take women from the small clitoral orgasm, African women call that the little girl orgasm, and bring them all the way up through the deep spot, G-spot, chakra, and full body orgasms. That is the Diva Deep Dive, and that's what we want you to have right now. The Diva Deep Dive is one of 71 courses found at Progressive Love Academy. You can get there by going to bit.ly/Diva Deep Dive, and I'm giving 50% off the course. It is Black Friday. It is Cyber Monday. It's time for everybody to have an orgasm. Get an orgasm for, for your holiday season. Come on. So that's it. Diva Deep Dive.
5 years, the Black History Museum has carried on the rich legacy of the museum movement in America by showing original artifacts like experience at colleges, K-12 corporations, libraries, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black History mobile exhibit in American history. Khalid El Hakim is the founder of the Black History 101 Museum, and he is a highly sought-after public speaker on topics of Black history, social studies, education, museum study, hip-hop, and race relations. Khalid was named a changemaker. BC Universal's erased that and listed as one of the 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He founded the Michigan Hip-Hop Art Campus at Western Michigan University. The Black Mobile Museum is scaling in person and virtual guide. For more information, please contact Khalid Al Hakim directly, 645-419-313-64597, or visit their website at blackhistorymuseum.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email him history101@yahoo.com, b3101.com.
Melanized Media, independently owned and operated film company. We specialize in culturally enriching Black films and videos at melanizedmedia.com. Join us every Sunday for Melanites, where we screen a socially conscious documentary film or Black historic presentation. That's every evening at 7 p.m. Visit melanizedmedia.com to learn more and to register. That's ELAEYES media.com. Peace.
All right, stand by, everybody. Three 313-778-7600. It's a call-in number if you have a question or comment. How's everybody doing? Here is the... Okay, so we got a few things here. If you want to advertise with the African History Network, email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. If you want to advertise with the African History Network, we have a special promotion going on for, I think, probably one more day. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. We can get you up and running for our Monday show, or get you up and running for the next day show. Okay, email us customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. Here is the link, and here is the promo code. This is a 12 online video course that Kenya K. Stevens from the Juju Mama, from the Progressive Love Academy, is offering. It's the Diva Deep Dive. This helps women take control of their orgasms, She talks about G-spot orgasms, female ejaculation, all that. Okay. And she actually demonstrates how to do it. There's a special promotion she's offering. She added an additional discount after we did the interview. You get 60% off when you use promo code AHN2020. 60% off when you use promo code AHN2020. And you can use this at progressiveloveacademy.com, progressiveloveacademy.com. I just posted the link here. That's a special promo code. She's giving a special discount to the viewers and listeners of the African History Network show, 60% off. Because in the interview, she says 50% off, but she hit me back later. She said, we're going to give a special discount. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, November 29th, 2020. And we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. Calling numbers 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600 is the call and never question or comment. All right. So, we know Thursday was Thanksgiving, and people celebrate Thanksgiving for various reasons, right? Some of them, they may be very religious. Others, they may celebrate it because they're thankful for the blessings they have and their family, etc. Some people deal with Thanksgiving from a more traditional perspective and based upon the pilgrims and what they think happened at that first, what we've been taught to believe is the first Thanksgiving that took place in November 1621 in Plymouth, Massachusetts. And, others have a more non-traditional Thanksgiving, focus more on family and not what has been taught to us through stories and myth and TV shows, etc. Okay. So Thursday, we ended up doing almost 2 hours dealing with the real history of Thanksgiving, and the National Day of Mourning, and Make America Great Again for who? All right. So that was a whole nother conversation, because I said, okay, so when you talk about Make America Great Again, when you go study the history after these Europeans came, it was pretty much downhill for Native Americans and African people also. So when you talk about Make America Great Again, you what period of time are you talking about going back to? Are you talking about going back to a period of time before Europeans got here? Is this what you're referring to? So very briefly here, when we look at Thanksgiving, we see Thanksgiving is a national holiday in the United States. Thanksgiving takes place on fourth Thursday of each year. Thanksgiving 2020 fell on November 26th in 2020. Now, in 1621, the Plymouth colonists and the Wampanoag Native Americans shared an autumn harvest feast that is acknowledged today as one of the first Thanksgiving celebrations in the colonies. For more than 2 centuries, days of Thanksgiving were celebrated by individual colonies and states, but it was not until 1863, during the Civil War, that President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a National Thanksgiving Day to be held each Thanksgiving, a National Thanksgiving Day to be held each Thanksgiving. Okay. So and just for the sake of clarification, the painting that we see depicting that first Thanksgiving in 1621, as I talked about on the Friday show, that's not exactly what happened. The Wampanoag Native Americans heard the colonists shooting off their guns. There was a celebration. The colonists were having a 3-day feast to celebrate that first harvest. And because of a treaty that the Wampanoag Nation signed with the settlers, those European settlers that were on the Mayflower, it was basically an agreement to, you watch our back, we'll watch yours. You watch our back, from our those adversaries that we have, the adversaries Native Americans have, and we'll watch your back from those trying to attack you. When they heard guns being fired, Massasoit, the Wampanoag Native American chief, rounded up 90 of his warriors, and they go to the settlers' camp to find out what's going on. And upon there, when they get there, then they find out that it's a feast. They ended up staying to make sure everything was on the up and up, and they were fed. Okay, so it wasn't a planned feast with Native Americans. That famous painting that we see has given a false impression of the first Thanksgiving. Okay, so when we look at the Native American Day of Mourning, or National Day of Mourning, I should say, National Day of Mourning, there were a few articles that I shared dealing with this, and everybody share this broadcast on your social media platforms, and invite your friends to tune in. We're broadcasting on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network, The African History Network on Facebook, and Michael Imhotep on YouTube, and also on 910 AM Superstation's Facebook page as well, 910 AM Superstation WFDF. Two quick articles I want to look at, one from Newsweek.com, and there was another good one from the Boston Globe. 400 years after first Thanksgiving, Native Americans honor Day of Mourning instead. 400 years after Thanksgiving, Native Americans honor Day of Mourning. Okay. And this National Day of Mourning, we post articles about this each year on Thanksgiving Day. Okay, so if you follow us on our page, The African History Network, you may have seen some of these articles. Okay, we'll go to the phone lines in just a minute. So 50 years ago, Native American Wamsutta Frank James, W-A-M, Wamsutta Frank James, was asked to participate in a statewide celebration of the 350th anniversary of the arrival of the Mayflower in Massachusetts. Okay, so this was in 1970. Okay, this took place in 1970, and he was now Wamsutta Frank James was the president of the Federated Eastern Indian League, and he was asked to give a speech in some form thanking the Pilgrims for, quote, bringing civilization to the shores, end quote, bringing civilization to the shores. Okay, so here you have this Native American man, Wamsutta Frank James, who's asked by had to be Europeans, had to be white people who asked him this question, asked him to give a speech on the 350th anniversary of the Mayflower arriving in this land, and they wanted him to thank the Pilgrims for, quote, bringing civilization to the shores, end quote. Now, when you say something like that, thank them for bringing civilization to the shores, you imply that Native Americans did not already have civilization. You imply that the Europeans brought something to Native Americans they did not already have and they needed. So the organizers of this event asked Wamsutta Frank James to submit a copy of his speech beforehand, citing grammar and spelling concerns. Now, Wamsutta Frank James was a school teacher at the time, but he obliged anyway. So he's probably more educated than a lot of these people that asked him to speak. Okay. He was a school teacher at the time, but he submitted his speech ahead of time anyway. So his speech was shut down and deemed inflammatory. I wonder what he said. I need to see if I can get a copy of that original speech. I'm pretty sure he told the truth. So his speech was shut down and deemed inflammatory. So this sequence of events is what would lead to the inception of the National Day of Mourning. The National Day of Mourning. And this is a day for indigenous peoples, or who traditionally called Native American. Now it's more, I guess, politically correct to call them indigenous peoples. Okay. But it's a day, the National Day of Mourning is a day for indigenous peoples from around North and South America to come together and remember their ancestors who were killed at the hands of Europeans who arrived 400 years ago. Now, we also know when we read, for instance, the first Americans were Africans, documented evidence by Dr. David Imhotep. And we've got the book right around here somewhere. The first Americans were Africans, documented evidence. When we read other books and we study history of Native Americans, we know that you're going to have a lot of African people. You're going to have Black Indians, and you're going to have African people who were classified as Native Americans as well. All right. And I need to see where I put my book. I don't know. Okay, I find it during the break. It's around here somewhere in all these piles of books. I just had it Friday night when we did the show. So, all right, I'll find it. But the first Americans were Africans, documented evidence by Dr. David Imhotep. So we know that they're Black Indians and still are Black Indians today. And we also understand that you have many African Americans who have Native American ancestry. I'm one of them on my mother's side. My mother's from Tennessee. So when we talk about National Day of Mourning, that's us too. And we know in August 20th, 1619, the year before the Mayflower set sail from Plymouth, England, because this is where the Mayflower originated from, Plymouth, England. We know August 20th, 1619 in Virginia, that Dutch warship, I'm sorry, it was an English warship. It was an English pirate ship, not Dutch. It was, they said it was Dutch, but it wasn't Dutch. It was actually English. It was an English pirate ship called the White Lion. That they're going to exchange 20 and odd Africans, or as they call it, 20 odd Negroes, for food and water and supplies. And we know that African people had already been in this land for tens of thousands of years before that, going back at least 51,700 years ago. When you read the first Americans were Africans, documented evidence by Dr. David Imhotep, when you read that book. So when we talk about a National Day of Mourning, that includes African Americans as well. Okay. Now I can understand, us being thankful for, the blessings we have, but then also remorseful at the same time. I can understand that as well. Okay. So we have that duality taking place at the same time. Okay. We have that duality taking place at the same time. All right. So this year, on the 50th anniversary of the National Day of Mourning, despite COVID-19 concerns, people actually gathered in Plymouth, Massachusetts, as they have done for the past 50 years, on the day many Americans will celebrate Thanksgiving. Now, Dr. Ishaka Musa Barashango, who wrote the book, African People and European Holidays and Mental Genocide, book 1 and book 2, Dr. Ishaka Musa Barashango, who's an ancestor now. He's actually a cousin of Dr. David Imhotep. But in book 1, which has the yellow cover, African People and European Holidays and Mental Genocide, he talks about Thanksgiving in book 1, and he called it Misgiving Day. And he talked about the hypocrisy of, Europeans and the genocide they brought to this land and amongst the Native Americans, etc. So the day after, so this year on the 50th anniversary of the National Day of Mourning, despite COVID-19 concerns, people gathered in Plymouth, Massachusetts, as they have done for the past 50 years, on the day many Americans will celebrate or celebrated Thanksgiving. The day after Thanksgiving is also recognized as Native American Heritage Day. Native American Heritage Day. And the month of November is Native American Heritage Month also. So when, I hear some African Americans who attack, quote unquote, what used to be called Black History Month, which started out as Negro History Week, the second week in February, starting in 1926, founded by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who co-founded the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History, September 9th, 1915 in Chicago. But I hear some African Americans, and I guess now it's less than a few years ago. They say, why we have a Black History Month? I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history. Other people don't have monthly cultural celebrations. And my response to them is, one, you haven't seen my lectures dealing with the history of African American History Month. Two, you don't know how to use Google. Because when you go research this, May is Jewish American History Month, and November is Native American History Month, and you have Irish American History Month, and different cultures and ethnic groups have their own monthly cultural celebrations in this country. And when you go research when they started, almost all of them start after 1976. 1976 is when Negro History Week became Black History Month and was officially celebrated for an entire month and was recognized by the federal government. President Gerald Ford did an address in February 1976, officially recognizing Black History Month. Now, we have been celebrating it going back to 1926. So, once again, you're about 50 years late. Okay. Once again, you about 50 years. We've been doing this for years. You just realize this now. Okay. So, but this is something we created, and other people saw what we had and they said, we want our national monthly cultural celebration as well. Okay. But many of us run away from what we created. Yeah. You have a Hispanic, you have a National Hispanic History Month and Hispanic Heritage Month and all those, and so you can go research this. I have a chart of them. I do a whole presentation dealing with the origins of African American History Month, and then I show a chart of these different monthly cultural celebrations. Okay, so Keisha James, or maybe it's Kisha because there's no E in it. Maybe it's Kisha James, Kisha. Kisha James told Newsweek magazine, newsweek.com. We're going to the phone lines in just a minute. 313-778-7600, 313-778-7600. Your call-in number if you have a question or comment. Kisha James, who is the granddaughter of Wamsutta Frank James, who is the man who founded the National Day of Mourning. She told Newsweek, she said, a lot of people find the National Day of Mourning liberates the land we stand on. A lot of people find the National Day of Mourning liberates the land we stand on. It's really the only day where a lot of people are forced to confront the pilgrim mythology, and confront the ugliness of America and America's past. And it felt like this year, as much as every other year, if not more, that was very important for us. Now, when we talk about the National Day of Mourning, I don't want people to be confused. We're not talking about MORNING. It's not mourning like good morning. It's not mourning like the Gap Band. I've got to get up early in the morning. It's not that type of mourning, even though that's a good song by the Gap Band. We're talking about MOURNING. Mourning, sorrow, sadness. That's what we're talking about. So I don't want people to be confused. They tell me this is a holiday, celebrate the Gap Band. No, they do deserve a holiday, the Gap Band. Okay, but this is not that one. All right. I don't want people to be confused here. Okay, so so Kisha James, the granddaughter of Wamsutta Frank James, the man who created the National Day of Mourning, is the archivist for the United American Indians of New England, which is an organization her grandfather started 50 years ago. Both she and her grandfather are part of the Wampanoag Native American tribe of Gayhead Aquanah, Aquinnah. She says that, so the Wampanoag were the Native, that was a Native American nation, Native American tribe that entered into the treaty with the settlers, or who we call pilgrims, the European settlers on the Mayflower ship. Okay. And as I said Friday, and I'll say it again today, this may go outside of the comfort of some people's awareness. Okay. Just because you disagree with it or don't like it. does not mean it's not true. Just means you have to go do some more research to understand what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure you find a lot of Native Americans that want to do over or what happened in 1621. I'm just saying. Pretty sure you find a good number of them. They want to do over. They say, oh, they ain't turned out too well for us. Okay. And I would agree. So both she and her grandfather are part of the Wampanoag tribe of Gayhead Aquina. She says that Native American communities have been hit hard by the coronavirus pandemic. So this year's march is also a chance to come together to share their experiences with the virus. In August of 2020, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, reported that COVID-19 was infecting American Indians and Alaska Natives up to 3.5 times more than white people. COVID-19 was infecting Native Americans and Alaska Natives up to 3.5 times more than white people. Kisha James told Newsweek, all of our communities have historically had diseases used against us, weaponized against us. Let me repeat this. All of our communities have historically had diseases used against us, weaponized against us. So there's also that added layer where we have Thanksgiving and there's a pandemic going on. And of course, the first Thanksgiving, there was also an epidemic going on that was killing off Native peoples, end quote. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Wadsworth, line 1. Welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for calling, Wadsworth. Tell us where you're calling from.
I'm from West Bloomfield, Michigan.
Bloomfield, Michigan. All right, go ahead with your question or comment.
Yes. Okay. They brought the vaccine. Now, do you think the vaccine is a good thing? I want to get your thoughts about that because some people are thinking people's vaccines coming, but see, for me, I'm not going to take the vaccine because I'm not sure it's safe. I'm not sure it's very safe.
Right. Okay. So your question is the vaccine a good thing or not? Okay. All right. Let me answer the question. All right. Thanks, Wadsworth. Is the vaccine a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it depends. First of all, is not the vaccine that's important, it's the vaccination. It's not the vaccine that's important, it's the vaccination. So you're going to have some people who take the vaccination. If you get 70%, 80%, 70%, 80% of the U.S. population take the vaccination, then and if it actually works, because you have some that have to be transported and stored at very, very cold temperatures, below zero temperatures. Others don't. So it depends. Some people don't want to take it. Now, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I don't take vaccinations because I haven't had, I just don't need them. I don't take flu shots because I don't get the flu. And now if I was older, if I was in my 70s and my doctor recommended, a flu shot, I'll consider it, but I don't, I'm not one to get vaccinations. I got them when I was younger. So if people want to take the vaccination, my degree is not in medicine. I'm going to tell them, listen to their doctor. Their doctor knows more about their medical history than I do. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. If you don't want to take it, okay, that's on you. If you want to take it, consult with your doctor. Your doctor knows more about your medical history than somebody on YouTube or Facebook trying to sell you something. Now, should we be concerned about the vaccination for those that take it? No, yeah, sure. But you should also be concerned about the stuff you eat on a daily basis that a lot of people don't give a damn about. So if you're going to be concerned about a vaccination, but you eat garbage every day, to me, that's a contradiction. So should people be concerned about the vaccination as concerned about what you eat every day? But if you eat garbage every day and drink and get drunk and use drugs, but you're concerned about the vaccination. I'm like, okay, well, all right. Okay. To me, that's a contradiction. Okay. All right. So 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. Let's go back to the phone lines. Let's go to Carl, line 2. Carl, welcome to the African History Network show. Tell us where you're calling from.
I'm calling from the Motor City, Detroit.
From Detroit.
Yes, I listen to you regularly now. Yes.
Oh, thanks, Carl.
My brother.
Thank you.
I want to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the Indian reservations
mm-hmm.
and a lot of their treaties, because, what they're going through now in a lot of these Indian reservations, the government don't want them to own banks. If you really notice that, Indians don't have banks. They not have casinos because where the money and the power lies, and I encourage black folks too, even if they do deal with other institutions,
mm-hmm. understand
that we do have black-owned banks
right.
that are creditable, FDIC insurance, and we should have some kind of accounts in them, but I think that is one of the reasons why the Indian reservations are suffering like that. Because, you take away the wealth of the people, like black folks, and you take like Indians, you cut us up a whole lot what the country has to offer. You know what I'm saying? The wealth.
Well, a lot of that has to do with that. A lot of that has to do with the land being stolen and over 371 peace treaties violated by the U.S. government. I wouldn't say that necessarily that's because they don't own banks. And I'm looking here at there are some Native American banks. Now they may also have a different type of system, but I'm looking at NativeAmericanToday.com and looking at Native American banks. No, there's a whole another history of theft of land and then violation of treaties, but violation of their treaties, yeah. And then they're doing a whole separate issue of even many of them not being properly compensated, things like that. So there's a whole separate issue. Okay, Native American banks and affiliates as a sovereign. Okay, yeah. So they have. So what happens is a lot of them, because of the treaty, they can have banks and they don't have to follow the guidelines of the FDIC either. They don't. They don't, because they're sovereign. A lot of those nations are sovereign. They don't have to follow those guidelines of the FDIC.
Okay. A lot of people, black folks, the problem that we do have in our communities, we don't take our history seriously. A lot of us don't quite understand it, what we've been through in this country. I'm glad my family understands it.
Right.
And I try to spread the news in the world. And they don't really understand because, when immigrants come here, people come here, they stick together. We got America like that, even though we built this country. The reason why we have such carnage in our communities, they really don't understand how America works. They don't understand the history.
Who is the they you're referring to? My
heritage all the way back to slavery.
Who is the they that you're referring to? You said who is the they? Who is the they you're referring to? You said they don't understand history. Blah blah. Who is the they you're referring to?
I mean, our people, black people.
Oh, okay. Well, that's because for that what
people don't understand.
Well, yeah,
the history of what we went through in this country because they don't take it seriously, man.
Well,
certain things you just wouldn't do.
Well, the reason why we don't understand the history is because that history has largely been taken away from us. It's largely a lot of it has been hidden and is not properly taught in school. It's not properly taught in schools across the country. Okay, so this is why I've been saying America needs a massive history lesson. This is why this is why this has to change. This is one of the reasons why I created the African History Network 10 years ago. This is why I talk about the study from the Southern Poverty Law Center, teaching hard history American slavery. And this is about a 56-page study that documents how the history of slavery is being improperly taught in schools all across the country. And it lays out all types of good recommendations on how to more correctly teach that history. Okay, because when people don't understand that it took a constitutional amendment to legally end chattel slavery in this country, when they don't understand slavery was the central reason why the Civil War was fought. It wasn't states' rights. It was over slavery. Okay. When they have these misconceptions, then that allows other misconceptions to permeate and foster. So then in 2020, you still have people fighting over Confederate monuments. And these were monuments erected to honor traitors to the Union. Okay. But they were also erected to terrorize African Americans and to keep us in a low level subservient position in society also. Go ahead with your last comment, because we're coming up on a break. Yeah, the majority. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's real, because you got kids. You're not teaching your kids. If America in their schools still teaching that Columbus discovered America, that is a lie. Why don't you tell the truth? It's very simple. People take the truth more quickly, really, and understand it than they would tell a lie.
Right.
Okay. Everybody knows that now.
So this is
still teaching it in elementary.
Right.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. So this is okay.
Thanks,
Carl. So this is why you have to change the textbooks that are being used in schools. And one of the things that the study from the Southern Poverty Law Center did, and Dr. Hassan Kwame Jeffries, who's a nephew to one of my teachers, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, he headed up the advisory board that put together this study. And I actually interviewed him a few months ago when we were talking about the passing of Representative John Lewis. One of the things that this study did also was it reviewed a number of textbooks that are being used in schools across the country, and it critiqued them and showed what was wrong with the textbooks. And then, like for instance, on page 13, you have William Steele. Well, William Steele, Still, he was an abolitionist in Philadelphia. William Steele is depicted in the movie Harriet. And a lot of what we know about the Underground Railroad is because of William Steele recording it and documenting it. Okay. But a lot of people don't know about William Steele. Okay. He's an abolitionist on the Underground Railroad who was an abolitionist before Harriet Tubman becomes an abolitionist. So people can download this from splcenter.org, splcenter.org, Southern Poverty Law Center. Every classroom across the country should be using this. Every school district should use this. And one of the things they tell teachers don't do in the classroom is don't do slave reenactments, because they talk about how slave reenactments can psychologically harm children. And every now and then, maybe every once a month or something like that, I'll hear a story about a slave lesson gone bad. And they were doing a slave reenactment in class and something happened. All right. But on page 8, now this is a study. I took this to the printer and got it printed up, but you can download this study for free. Those who are doing a lot of homeschooling, you have your children at home and they're at the kitchen table and going to school online, things like this. Right. They can this is something you can incorporate and share this with the teachers, because a lot of teachers don't know about this. But on page 9, okay, what they did was they did a online survey of 1,000 high school seniors, 12th graders all across the country, 1,000 high school seniors. They found high school seniors struggle on even the most basic questions about American enslavement of African people. Only 8% of high school seniors surveyed can identify slavery as a central cause of the Civil War. They thought it was states' rights or something else. Only 8%. So what does that mean? It means they didn't learn it in school correctly. 2, they didn't learn it at home correctly. 2/3 or 68% of high school seniors surveyed don't know that it took a constitutional amendment to formally end slavery. Fewer than 1 in 4 or 22% of high school seniors surveyed can correctly identify how provisions in the U.S. Constitution gave advantages to slaveholders, like Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the U.S. Constitution, called the 3/5 Compromise of 1787. Okay. Or you can talk about Article 4, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution that laid the foundation for the fugitive slave laws of 1793. And there's one after 1793, around 1850. Those fugitive slave laws. That foundation is in the U.S. Constitution. That's Article 4, Section 2. All right, we're coming up on a break. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600 is the call-in number if you have a question or comment. Also, if you like this type of information, You can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show, paypal.me/the AHN Show, and at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Click on the yellow donate button, but you can also order our DVD lectures there, digital downloads, and we have a recommended reading list of about 70 books at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You listen to the African History Network show, 9-10 a.m. Superstation of Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. Are you ready for a new black economy? Well, HBD, the role of economics in the development of civilization, is a brand documentary that will set on a new of knowledge and enlightenment. The HBD gives viewers a snapshot of our economic history from the dawn of civilization right till today. The underlying theme of the film is the interrelation between the three components of economics, politics, and culture. He brings together the brightest, most prolific minds in the psychology, history, business, and Dr. Leonard J. Professor James Small, Dr. Julian Malveaux, Dr. Zahi Hawass, and Jabbar Sazi, and more. Together, they deliver a bit of economics, financial, and a prime that we can all be inspired by. The on sale now is streaming on all formats or DVDs. Visit HBD, HBDfilm.com. Use offer code HBDHN for a 10% discount. Al-Qibalan's lifestyle is servitude. They focus on providing you quality products and customers. They're here to fulfill your African men's and women's clothing, health and essential oil, fragrances, their products, and much, much more. Check out their clothing and products for African kings and visit their website, alqibalan.com, ALKBUAN, alqibalan.com. They look for you.
So my name is Kenya K. Stevens. I teach a class called the Diva Deep Dive. I take women from the small clitoral orgasm, African women call that the little girl orgasm, and bring them all the way up through the deep spot, G-spot, chakra, and full body orgasms. That is the Diva Deep Dive, and that's what we want you to have right now. The Diva Deep Dive is one of 71 courses found at Progressive Love Academy. You can get there by going to bit.ly/Diva Deep Dive, and I'm giving 50% off the course. It is Black Friday. It is Cyber Monday. It's time for everybody to have an orgasm. Get an orgasm for your holiday season. Come on. So that's it. Diva Deep Dive.
Revitalizing, indulgent, essential. Crea's Love Butter Raw Butter Collection. How do we know if end products are truly delivering all of the benefits they should? Crea's Love Butter, a thoughtful combination of hand-selected ingredients designed to enhance the level of men's health. Crea's Love Butter is an idea for health-conscious loved ones and is a pleasure to give and receive. They have restorative powers of raw butter and with their love and for revitalizing skin that you will undoubtedly feel from the first use. Visit their website, CreaSLoveButter.com, CreaSLoveButter.com. Skin in the game. How's everybody doing? Okay, African American business owners, email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. We have also this 6 DVD bundle pack, and it's also available in digital download as well. Hey, Gina, how you doing, Gina? We have this 6 DVD bundle pack, Black Migration 1619 to 2019. So it's a lot of history I deal with in that one, and we deal with the 400th year anniversary of August 20th, 1619. I have another presentation in there, 6 principles of political self-defense, understanding how laws and policies impact the economic conditions of African Americans. So we just posted a link there. Also available in digital download format. It's a 6 DVD set or 6 lecture title. Grace in 1619 to 2019. All right, coming up here on the break, and it's on sale $45 right now. It's on sale $45. Okay, so and then digital download is $40. Okay, everybody, coming up at 11 o'clock tonight, we're going to re-air Sex Talk with Kenya K. Stevens and Michael Imhotep. And I aired this last night. We're going to re-air that at 11 o'clock. That's already queued up. And she's teaching women, she's explaining to women how to have more powerful orgasms and female ejaculation, all that stuff. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM, the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Brother Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, November 29th, 2020. November is almost gone, and next thing you know, Christmas will be here. Then it'll be New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Then January 20th will be here. So today's show is sponsored by the Jim James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company. They have a very special promotion for people moving from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue on January 20th, 2021. Use promo code DJT. It's promo code DJT. Pack your stuff. DJT. Pack your stuff. Pack your stuff. Right. The Jim James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company. Call 1-866. Call Tyrone because they will help you. They will help you pack your stuff. Okay. There's a new sponsor. The Jim James, Paul, and Tyrone Moving Company. All right. Okay, so right before the break, we were talking about the National Day of Mourning and how this ties into the history of the European settlers, or who we've been told to call the Pilgrims, that come in 1620, and then you have what we have been taught was the first Thanksgiving in November 1621. Check out the article from Newsweek.com. 400 years after first Thanksgiving, Native Americans honor Day of Mourning instead. 400 years after first Thanksgiving, Native Americans honor Day of Mourning instead. So this was from November 25th, 2020. Then there was a good article from Boston Globe. BostonGlobe.com had one. And then there were a number of them that I saw. We posted a number of them. There was one from USA Today also. We have the one from the USA Today. There's one from USA Today that I saw as well. But the Boston Globe, Native American Thanksgiving protest draws thousands with virtual event. Native American Thanksgiving protest draws thousands with virtual event. And it says in Plymouth, Massachusetts, the National Day of Mourning observed the harm indigenous tribes suffered from settlers. So also in this article, Kisha James, who was the granddaughter of Wamsutta Frank James, who's the man who founded the National Day of Mourning 50 years ago, 1970. She's also quoted in this article as well. And the article says, for the first time in half a century, thousands of people joined together for the National Day of Mourning, both in person and virtually, Thursday afternoon, November 26, 2020, underscoring the impact the pandemic has had on another long-standing tradition. In rainy, warm weather, dozens assembled in person by the statue of Massasoit, who was the Wampanoag Native American chief. Back he was the chief of the Wampanoag Nation. The Wampanoag enter into this treaty with the European settlers, who we call pilgrims. By the statue of Massasoit on Coles, COLE', Coles Hill in Plymouth, at noon to reflect on the origins of Thanksgiving. A live stream of the event hosted by the United American Indians of New England was set up for people to participate from home. Kisha James, who is the United American Indians of New England youth coordinator, who is Aquana Wampanoag and Lakota, said the National Day of Mourning is a time to reflect on the injustices Native Americans have faced. The injustices Native Americans have faced since settlers arrived in America. She said, quote, "We have our own story to tell in our own way. We want to educate people so that they understand the stories we all learned in school about the first Thanksgiving are nothing but lies. We want to educate people so that they understand the stories we all learned in school about the first Thanksgiving are nothing but lies," end quote. Now, I'm not sure if that includes a Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving. I don't know, but okay. Now at its peak, nearly 1,600 people were tuned in to the live stream. Hundreds of Native Americans have gathered annually for the Thanksgiving Day protest since its founding in 1970. To Native Americans or indigenous people, the holiday is a reminder of millions of ancestors who died at the hands of European colonists over the past 4 centuries, organizers of the National Day of Mourning said. So they weren't there. There wasn't no celebration. They were not there celebrating the Europeans making it through their first winter. Some Wampanoag ancestors did welcome pilgrims with open arms, Kisha James said. And what did we get in return? Genocide, the theft of our lands, slavery, and never-ending oppression. Because as I said on the Friday night broadcast, and go back and watch that, we're gonna re-air that also, because that was like 2 hours. We got deep into this history. There were Native Americans who were enslaved also. Not a majority of people who are going to be enslaved in this country are going to be African people, but there were Native Americans who were enslaved, especially early on. And there are going to be Native Americans who were captured here in this land, in those colonies, where the colonies are being set up, Virginia, things like this. They're going to be captured here, those English colonies, taken back to England also. You're going to have that happen. You're going to have the Spanish in 1526 bringing Africans into the territory we today call South Carolina and Georgia. That's 93 years before Jamestown, Virginia, 1619. So this is why, when we had this 400th year anniversary of August 20, 1619, we talked about that history here. I interviewed Professor Kaba Hiawatha Kamene, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, and Professor James Small all on the same day. Then the next day, I interviewed Dr. David Imhotep. Okay. But we put all that in perspective. This was our land stolen from us. Let's be honest. This was our land stolen from us. This is why when I hear people and I see Black Republicans walking around talking about make America great again, I'm like, what period of time are you talking about? I can think of some periods of time that I'm talking about that this land was great. Okay. Now, we talking about the same period of time? Because it's before all this stuff happened. It's before. It's before 1513. Spanish conquistador came into Florida, even though he came in with an African named Juan Garrido. Okay, Juan Garrido, Juan Garrido was with the Spanish conquistadors. He was with the conquerors. He was born in West Africa in 1480. He's probably the first person we know of African descent by name in this land. Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr. talks about him in his books like African Americans, Many Rivers to Cross. Okay. In the introduction, like page 3, 4, 5, something like that. So we can talk about some periods of time when this land, before this U.S. government was set up, when this land was great. But it was before these European settlers got here. So, I mean, we can have that conversation if you want to, but it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. It's just like when we had this caller call in and talked about illegal aliens voting. That's why Hillary Clinton got 3 million more popular votes. I said 3 million white people did not vote for Hillary Clinton that were illegal. I mean, because if you want to talk, if you want to have a conversation about, now I don't use the term illegal aliens because human beings are not illegal. But if you want to use that term, you want to have a conversation, we can. But we're going to start with white people stealing the land from Native Americans and African people. We're going to start there. Okay. We can go back to 1845 and Manifest Destiny. And we can talk about European expansion, Europeans trying to take over all of North America. And we can talk about the Mexican-American War of 1846 and 1848, which is over land. So you want to have this conversation, you can. You don't want to have that conversation with me because it's not going to go the way you think it's going to go. All right, let's go back to this article. 313-778-7600 is the calling number. If you have a question or comment, 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. So in decades past, many stories about the origin of Thanksgiving have been corrected by Indigenous educators across the state of Massachusetts, with teachers and parents following suit. As part of a revamped education, every public school in the state of Massachusetts will receive copies of a new state history book co-written by Linda Coombs. I think it's pronounced Coombs, Coombs, Coombs. And she, Linda Coombs is a member of the Aquana Wampanoag tribe. The book documents America long before the colonists arrived. Okay, now I don't know if they called, I don't know if they said this is when America was great. I don't know if that's in the book. You know, they may want to add it in. I ain't trying to start now. I'm just saying, I don't say this. Look, this is when America was great. This is when America wasn't great. This is what happened. This period of time over here, this is when America was great. So, I know. Now, at the protest Thursday, organizers focused on the inequalities Native Americans still face in the United States. For example, the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe lost its effort to establish a sovereign reservation in Taunton, Tauton, Taunton, to build a casino after a federal judge ruled 4 years earlier that the U.S. government did not have the authority to confer the designation. After the U.S. government, after a federal judge ruled 4 years earlier that the U.S. government did not have the authority to confer the designation. Now, Kisha James, who is the granddaughter of Wamsutta Frank James, who's the man who created or founded the National Day of Mourning back in 1970, she said, quote, 400 years after the arrival of the Mayflower, indigenous people are still denied the respect and lands that are theirs by right. Change is long past due. Change is long past due. Now, as Sam Cooke said, a change is going to come. A change is going to come. And as we see, you know, right now, and Donald Trump is going to be evicted from the White House. And as we see that his lies about voter fraud and things like this are coming back on them in Georgia, because you got Republicans in Georgia asking, well, wait a second. If the election was rigged and the election is rigged, why should we keep donating to Republicans? Why should we keep donating to these Republican senators? Why should we vote in this January 5th election? The chickens are coming back home to roost. The chickens are coming back home to roost. This is karma. Now, COVID-19 has also had a disproportionate impact on Native American communities, as I said in the previous article, according to a study from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. Organizers also touched on the higher infant mortality rates and lower life expectancy among members within the indigenous community. During her speech, Mattawan Monroe, Mahtowin, Mattawan Monroe, co-leader of the United American Indians of New England, criticized state officials for not voting to redesign the state flag. She criticized state officials for not voting to redesign the state flag. The state flag of Massachusetts depicts an arm holding a sword over the head of a Native American. She criticized state officials of Massachusetts for not voting to redesign the state flag, which depicts an arm holding a sword over the head of a Native American. And she criticized officials also for not banning the use of Native American mascots and not changing the name of Faneuil Hall, Faneuil, which is named after Peter Faneuil, who was a merchant and slave trader. She said, quote, let us not forget this country was founded on white supremacy, the widespread practice of slavery, and a policy of genocide and land theft, end quote, she said. All right, I approve of this message. So check out this article, bostonglobe.com. Native American Thanksgiving protest draws thousands with virtual event. Okay. That's from November 26, 2020. Now, that doesn't mean I'm against families getting together. Now, you don't want to get together this past Thanksgiving. You don't want people from outside your house coming over. Do that through Zoom. We did that through Zoom. My daughter and my mom were singing the Itsy Bitsy Spider on Zoom. My daughter's 3 years old, so we connected through Zoom. We're not going over my parents. My parents in their 70s. We're not going over my parents' house, anything like that. So, it's dangerous visiting people and having these get-togethers over at people's houses, even though people want to be together for the holidays. Do that through Zoom or Facebook or what have you. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. 313-778-7600 is the calling number if you have a question or comment. And if you like this type of information, you can donate to the African History Network, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, $ the AHN Show through Cash App, then also through PayPal, paypal.me/the AHN Show. It was 6 DVD bundle pack, Black Migration 1619 to 2019, Black Migration 1619 to 2019. That's available right now at our website, HistoryNetwork.com. And it's also in digital download format as well. The lecture I did, Black Migration 1619 to 2019, deals with that 400th year anniversary of August 20th, 19, the history behind that. There's also a lecture in there that deals with 6 principles of political self-defense, understanding how laws and policies impact the economic conditions of African Americans. There's also a lecture dealing with when black men dominated horse racing, because a lot of the early winners of the Kentucky Derby were African-American men. Oliver Lewis won the first Kentucky Derby in 1875, 10 years after slavery ended. He was 19 years old. And you're going to have people like Alonzo Lonnie Clayton and Jimmy Wink Wakefield. And you had these fantastic African-American jockeys who were winning the Kentucky Derby and winning all these horse races. And there's going to be a unionized effort by white men to push African Americans out of horse racing. We were making too much money, getting too much fame. So there's a whole history behind that, and we were almost totally erased from horse racing and the history of horse racing also. So that's in that bundle pack as well. Okay, Black Migration 1619 to 2019, 6 DVD bundle pack. It's on sale $45. It's available at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We also have it in digital download format also. All right, there was an article from CNN that I saw. We posted this on our fan page, The African History Network. Indigenous people across the U.S. want their land back, and the movement is gaining momentum. Indigenous people across the U.S. want their land back, and the movement is gaining momentum. Okay, we're coming up on a break. How much time we got before the break? Let me see. Okay, I think we're coming up on a break. How much time before the break, Jalen?
Yeah, 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. So around this time every year, Americans come together to share a feast commemorating a myth about its first inhabitants. Now, this is an article by Harmeet Kaur, Kaur. An indigenous tribe did eat with the Pilgrims in 1621 and signed a treaty with the colonists that had settled on their shores, an act of survival rather than one of goodwill and friendship. But the relationship would eventually break down, decimating the tribe's population and whittling away its land. Nearly 400 years later, the descendants of the very tribe at the heart of the Thanksgiving holiday are still fighting to reclaim their lands. The Wampanoag are still fighting to reclaim their lands, a fight that ironically hinges on whether or not the tribe meets the federal government's definition of Indian. Okay, on whether or not the tribe meets the federal government's definition of Indian. Quote, we're kind of stereotyped as the tribes that met the Pilgrims, and that's our whole story. Like we ceased to exist. Okay, we'll continue this on the other side of the break. Listen to the African History Network show right here on 910 AM Superstation Future Radio. I'm Michael Imhotep. We'll be back in a few minutes. For 25 years, 3101 Mobile Music carried on the rich of the Black Museum in America, showcasing original artifacts, Black variants, colleges, universities, 12 school operations, conferences, and cultural events, making it the most traversed Black history exhibit in American history. Dr. Khalid El-Ham is the founder of the Black History 101 Museum and is a highly served public speaker on topics of history, social studies, museum studies, hip-hop, and race relations. Dr. Khalid makers for NBC Erase the Hate as one of 100 men of distinction for Black enterprise. He founded the Michigan Archive on the campus of Michigan University. The Black History 101 Mobile Museum is scheduling in-person and virtual exhibits nationwide. For more information, please contact Dr. Khalid El-Ham directly at 315-419-313-65417 or visit their blackhistorymobile.com. That's blackhistorymobilemuseum.com. You can also email them at b101@yahoo.com, bhistory101@yahoo.com. Our rule is a line of African apparel catered to the Black community. The pieces include sweatshirts, hoodies, dresses, skirts, activewear, bags, accessories, and home decor. This brand offers a revived way for men and women to wear their Black pride and honor their African heritage anywhere, time. This line is for anyone, whether you're working in the corporate world, are an entrepreneur, or an artist. Their selection will allow you to casual pride shop or dress it up as wanted. This is for those who have already embraced African and for those who are just getting introduced to them. Reclaim and part of our culture with rich and colorful African print. The clothing line and is available right now, $17.99. For more information on the new items, visit Yaya. Sage and Elma create unique products, especially with you in they use ingredients such as fruits, herbs, vegetables. Each product crafted offers a plant-based experience. Their approach to care formulate their product inventory. They're proud to serve our community plant-based product supporters and offerings for the entire family. Sage and Elm Apothecary designs 60 different beautifully hand soaps, natural toothpaste, oil, deodorants, face masks, conditioners, and so on. Visit at sageandapothecary.com. That's sageandapothecary.com, OTHECARY, and find out coming event year. Sage and Elm Apothecary provides for all of your plant-based. Use promo code AHNWINTER, AHNWINTER for a special discount. Get knowledge in minutes. Blacklist Ed. Blacklist Ed is an app that provides and summaries of books pertaining to the Black experience. Black people, we know reading to discover our incredible contributions to world history, uplift our esteem, and to empower ourselves for our relentless fight. Unfortunately, busy lives, it feels like never enough time. Fortunately, with Blacklist Ed, their app provides key insights from best-selling books about the Black experience. Time increasing your knowing yourself through inspirational and actionable ideas. You can read or listen on the go. Start your free trial today by going to blacklisted.com. That's black without the C, BLAK. Or you can download the Blacklist Ed app from the App Store or Google Play. Blacklist Ed, empower yourself. African American business owners, email us at customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. Customer service at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We'll let you know how you can advertise the African History Network. We have a current promotion running for about one more day, 1 month, get 1 month free. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. And we create a video commercial for you. It'll air when we rebroadcast these shows. And your commercial will also be in audio podcast format also. We're on 9 different audio podcast platforms, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, Castbox, FM Player. So you'll get a lot of exposure. Welcome back to the African History Network show right here on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation, the Future Radio. I'm your host, Michael Imhotep. It is Sunday, November 29th, 2020, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing well. All right. So right before the break, we were talking about the National Day of Mourning that Indigenous people celebrate, and some African Americans celebrate it also. I'm one of them. But I was talking about this article from CNN.com. Indigenous people across the U.S. want their land back, and the movement is gaining momentum. So the article goes on to say their claims to the land are in limbo. Their claims to the land are in limbo. It's talking about the Wampanoag Nation of the Native Americans. Quote, the origin of being indigenous is located and ties to the land. Randall Aki, AKE, an associate professor of public policy and American Indian studies at the University of California, Los Angeles. So the demand is simple. Give us the land back. Give us the land back. Their claims are rooted in the U.S. government's dark history of removing indigenous people from their lands, whether through forced seizure or through treaties that promised them other lands or services. Okay, whether through forced treaties or through their claims are rooted in the U.S. government's dark history of removing indigenous people from their lands, whether through forced seizure or through treaties that promised them other lands or services. So in the face of everything the Mashpee Wampanoag Nation of Native Americans has endured, it has managed to maintain its identity. So the fact that it's now losing its connection to the land is especially frustrating. In 2015, the federal government declared it would place about 300 acres of land in Massachusetts into a trust for the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, turning it into a reservation. A victory after decades of trying to reclaim land. The trust status meant that the land would be taken. The trust status meant that the land could not be taken away from the Mashpee Wampanoag Nation without the approval of the federal government. It also gave the tribe sovereignty, allowing it to build housing, a school, and police department on the land. Okay, check out the rest of this article here. I printed up, it's like 11 pages, but it's a lot of gaps in here. It's a lot of white space in the article, but it's a really good article from CNN.com. This is like the other side of Thanksgiving that they don't want to talk about. Indigenous people across the U.S. want their land back, and the movement is gaining momentum. And when we deal with the Dawes Allotment Act of 1887, that was 138 million acres of land that was supposed to be redistributed to Native Americans and Black Indians, and 2/3 of that land with the white people. 2/3 of that land with the white people. Okay, so this is another land grab, just like the Homestead Act of 1862. That was almost 250 million acres of land. Almost all that went to white people. The Homestead Act, then the Southern Homestead Act, 1866, has another 45 or 50 million acres of land. All right. So check those out. All right. So today is Don Cheadle's birthday. We're going to go to that clip from the Golden Girls here in just a second, Jalen. So actor Don Cheadle, we have seen him in the Avengers movies, and we saw him in Hamburger Hill in 1987, and the movie Colors as well, 1988, and Rosewood in 1997, and Boogie Nights in 1997 as well. Out of Sight, Traffic, the Ocean's 11 trilogy, those Ocean's trilogies. Well, he turns 56 today. He was born November 29th, 1964. He's an actor, author, director, producer, and writer. Don Cheadle was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor for his lead role as Rwandan hotel manager Paul Rusesabagina. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that. In Hotel Rwanda, that historical movie about genocide in Rwanda, came out in 2004, Hotel Rwanda. From 2012 to 2016, he starred as Marty Kaan, Kaan, on the Showtime comedy series House of Lies. He won a Golden Globe Award in 2013 for the role on House of Lies. Since 2019, Don Cheadle has starred as Maurice Monroe in the Showtime series Black Monday, a role which earned him a Primetime Emmy Award nomination in 2019. Don Cheadle extended his global recognition with his role as the superhero War Machine in the Marvel Cinematic Universe replacing Terrence Howard. He appeared as War Machine in Iron Man 2 in 2010, Iron Man 3 in 2013, Avengers Age of Ultron 2015, Captain America Civil War 2016. Captain America Civil War introduced Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, the Black Panther, from the fictitious African nation of Wakanda. So Wakanda forever also. We'll talk about Chadwick Boseman here in just a minute. And then Avengers Infinity War in 2018, Captain Marvel 2019, and Avengers Endgame 2019. Man, you can, I mean, you get in one of those Avengers movies, you got a recurring role, man, you're set. You got Marvel movies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Marvel movies he's in. Wow. Okay, 7 Marvel movies he's in. Okay. So in 1988, there was an episode of The Golden Girls where Blanche Devereaux, you know, she's a Southern belle. She comes from the South. Her ancestors were slave owners. There's one of her relatives dies, and there's a dispute over the Confederate battle flag of Northern Virginia, which we have been taught to call the Confederate flag. We've been taught to call it the Confederate flag. Now, it's not the Confederate flag. It's the Confederate flag. It's the Confederate battle flag of Northern Virginia under General Robert E. Lee's army. Okay. There were 3 flags that flew the Confederate States of America from 1861 to 1865. 3 flags flew over the Confederate States of America from 1861 to 1865. That flag that we call the Confederate flag, that most people think is the Confederate flag, that flag never flew over the Confederate States of America. That's not actually the Confederate flag. The flag that's on the Dukes of Hazzard car, named the General Lee, which was named after General Robert E. Lee, a white supremacist slave owner who committed treason based upon Article 3, Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution and took up arms against the Union. The car on the General Lee is named after a slave owner, General Robert E. Lee, a traitor to the Union. That flag that's on the General Lee car is not the Confederate flag. Okay, but nonetheless, it still caused a lot of problems. And you have people arguing over it today. And people arguing over Confederate monuments and Confederate statues, things like this. Okay. So this scene opens up where Don Cheadle's character is confronting Blanche Devereaux about her displaying this Confederate battle flag. Let's go to this clip.
Oh, wait up. You're not hanging that flag in here.
Well, of course I am.
Blanche, do you know what this flag represents?
This flag belonged to Big Granddaddy Hollingsworth. He used to bring it to all our fine old Southern family pics where all the cousins would gather. Everybody was courteous and mannerly, and gentlemen would ask ladies for the favor of a dance. And Cousin Rex would be home on vacation from Colonel Bob's school for bad boys.
Wait a minute, now I get it. This is good old-fashioned fun.
Yeah.
Okay, well, say, how about on Tuesday nights we hang the Nazi flag, hire an oompa band, and dress you up like Eva Braun?
This is not the same as the Nazi flag.
Yeah, well, it is to me, Blanche. But when you look at this flag, you see some Southern fairy tale with a guy who looks like Burl Ives dressed in a white suit, tipping his hat to you, saying, "Evening, Miss Blanche."
Evening. Sorry, Roland, you were making a point.
That's not funny, Blanche.
Well, that's ancient history, and you know it. Things aren't like that anymore.
You did the right thing, Lou.
I did? I did the right thing. I did?
Yeah. Sometimes what you believe is more important than business. Although what some people believe is unbelievable.
Now, Roland, I am not some kind of bigot because I love this flag and I resent that implication. You just stop that right now.
Oh, yes, ma'am, Miss Devereaux. Oh, Roland don't want to cause you no trouble at all.
You hold on to that one. He's a good one. What did you say?
He's a good one.
Roland, wait. Hey, Roland, I don't feel like that woman in there. I don't feel that way at all.
But can't you see, Blanche, that flag ties what you believe and what she believes together. Look, I'm telling you, the legacy of that flag is alive. Every time I walk down the street with a group of my friends and I see a white person cross over to the other side because they're afraid. Or look, when I'm in the elevator with somebody like you and you're all huddled over in the corner wondering what I'm going to do, sometimes I just want to go, just to break the tension. So please don't tell me about that flag. I've battled that flag all my life.
Look, Roland, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything you have been through, but what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to think about all my family, all my friends? All right. When I was in school, maybe I was a little less sensitive than I could have been. See, but I was just doing what all my friends were doing. They were my friends. And we were just acting like everybody we knew acted. Oh. And when I had my first baby, well, the hospital was packed, and I had to share a room with a young black woman. George made a big stink about the accommodation. She had to have heard him. I know her baby was that bitch cute as mine. Cuter, in fact. Rebecca was an ugly baby. Turned out fine. Ugly baby. You can get an idea of how she looked if you catch Sophia some morning with her tea towel. The point is, what am I supposed to do and think about my family now? What am I supposed to think about all those people I love? What am I supposed to think about me? Everything I grew up believing in, all my wonderful memories, they're all tarnished now by... God, by the truth. I owe you an apology.
No.
Will you stay?
Blanche, you really have to start listening to me when I tell you something is bothering me. And I'll try to understand why some of these things mean so much to you. Look, the whole world is messed up right now, and I would like to see that get better. But in order for that to happen, white people are going to have to start making positive assumptions when they see people of color. And people of color could make positive assumptions when they see white people.
All right, so that was from The Golden Girls, 1998. All right, I need to go and find that episode and watch the whole thing. And the debate over the Confederate battle flag, you can give us a call, 313-778-7600. John, call back. I forgot you on hold. Call back, John. We'll put you right through. 313-778-7600. The whole debate over the Confederate battle flag and how it's tied to people's memories, how it's tied to their family and their families and their grandfathers, great-grandfathers, great-grandmothers, things like this, right? It's really deep, and you're dealing with, we talked about this before, the lost cause, this whole myth of the lost cause, and that the real fight was the myth that the real fight was over states' rights, and the federal government was infringing upon the rights of these southern states, so they're going to secede from the Union and stand up for their rights, etc. And there was a whole effort to miseducate people. And you have the Daughters of the Confederacy organization. They're going to use their wealth to miseducate people and publish textbooks and things like this, and put together curriculums to miseducate school children in the South about the history of the Civil War. All right. And this is why America needs a massive history lesson to correct all this nonsense. This is why the study from the Southern Poverty Law Center is so important, that I talk about a lot, teaching hard history, American slavery, because it addresses a lot of that misinformation that's been taught in schools and that's in textbooks. Teaching hard history, American slavery. Okay, so download this. The other article I was looking for from USA Today: after a summer of racial reckoning, is America ready to learn the truth about Thanksgiving? After a summer of racial reckoning, is America ready to learn the truth about Thanksgiving? This is by Aaron Dion, D-I-O-N, November 23rd, 2024, USA Today. It's another article that I saw dealing with all this history of Thanksgiving and the first Thanksgiving and National Day of Mourning and genocide, etc. All right. Okay, we got John back. Let's go back to the phone lines. Let's go to John, line 1. John, welcome to the African History Network show. Thanks for holding, and it's calling from Detroit.
That's right. east side of Detroit.
East side of Detroit.
I just want to thank you for giving out the knowledge about the Native Americans and African Americans who was all entwined together there, and why they resent the Natives so bad that a lot of African Americans was joining the Natives and so forth. And they never, when they signed treaties, they never committed to their treaties they signed. Every treaty they broke, when they signed with the Natives, and also the Natives was beating them, and every war they participated in, how they overcome the Natives, they starved them. They starved them out. They starved them. They went to where the Natives getting their food, changed that, the buffalo and all that. They just went there and just slaughtered millions of buffaloes and so forth. Mm-hmm. That's how they started making the Native conquer and so forth. And I just want to know, were you familiar with the how they
yes.
started laws and the food changes?
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that. Yeah, I'm familiar with that, and then also giving them alcohol and things like that. Yeah, so I'm familiar with that. Yes.
And that stimulus money,
right?
90% of it went to white folks. 90% of that stimulus went to white folks. So I just want that you let the people know that the money that's the money that they hand out to the working class and African Americans and Natives, they only get 10% of it, and the rest 90% went to white folks.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So.
All right, John.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for calling back. Thank you. The article I was looking for, this ties into the Confederate. This ties into the military bases that are currently named after Confederate soldiers, Confederate generals, things like this, like Fort Bragg. We talked about this earlier in the week, and then that ties into the clip from the Golden Girls that we just played with Don Cheadle. Trump set on veto a defense bill over renaming bases honoring Confederates. This is from NBCnews.com. Trump set on veto of defense bill over renaming bases honoring Confederates. The president has told lawmakers he won't back down from a campaign threat to scuttle defense spending bill over proposed changes. So this deals with the National Defense Authorization Act, which is the bill that funds the military. Donald Trump is threatening to veto legislation to fund the military as one of his final acts in office unless a widely supported bipartisan, that means Democrats and Republicans, bipartisan provision to rename military bases honoring Confederate military leaders is removed, according to White House, defense, and congressional sources. So you have Democrats and Republicans who agree these military bases need to be renamed, that are named after Confederate military leaders, because they were traitors to the Union, and they actually killed people who belong to the same military that Donald Trump is supposed to be in command of. Donald Trump does not want military bases renamed after traitors who killed members of the U.S. Army, Navy, Marines. They didn't have Air Force back then, I don't think, in the Civil War. But maybe they did have planes in the American Revolutionary War. I'm not sure. But but think about this. These were traitors to the Union, the Confederate soldiers who killed members of the military that Trump is supposed to command. Since the November 3rd, 2020 election, Donald Trump has privately told Republican lawmakers that he won't back down from his position during the campaign, that he would veto the annual National Defense Authorization Act if it includes an amendment to rename these military bases. A senior administration official confirmed Trump's conversations with Republicans and his veto threat. Quote, he's said that, the official said. Trump's stance has put in doubt legislation that have been agreed to by Republicans and Democrats in the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. It has sent members of Trump's party scrambling to find a path for the defense bill, which outlines military policy and funding, and put them on a collision course with Democrats. While some Republicans are now shifting their positions to align with Trump, Democrats are refusing to budge on the agreed to amendment threatening passage of the legislation. And you wonder why majority of African Americans don't vote for Republicans. Stuff like this, and you trying to disenfranchise our votes and try to throw out our votes because we ain't vote for Trump. Stuff like that. Read this article here. Trump set on veto of defense bill over renaming bases honoring Confederates. This is from November 23rd, 2020 from NBC.com. Okay. All right. So check out this article here and let's go quickly. Okay. So November 29th is also the birth date of Chadwick Boseman, born November 29th, 1976. And this comes courtesy of Soul TV. Both the information on Don Cheadle and Chadwick Boseman comes from Soul TV. So we posted about this on our Facebook fan page, The African History Network. And he passed away August 28th. 2020, tragically. So after studying directing at Howard University, Chadwick Boseman landed his first major role as a series regular on Persons Unknown in 2010. Boseman's breakthrough performance came as baseball player Jackie Robinson in the biographical film entitled 42 in 2013. He continued to portray historical figures such as James Brown in Get On Up. He did an excellent job as James Brown, an excellent job as Jackie Robinson, but he also portrayed Thurgood Marshall in the movie Marshall, which was about a case Thurgood Marshall handled before Brown versus Board of Education. Okay. So, you know, he was a brilliant actor, director. He kept his illness secret, the cancer he was suffering from. So it's his birthday as well. And he's most well known. He may be most well known after the movie came out in 2018 as King T'Challa of the fictitious African nation of Wakanda. And also King T'Challa is the Black Panther. All right. So that is a role he's going to probably be known for a long time. There's probably his most well-known role as Black Panther. Black Panther went all around the world, did $1.3 billion at the box office. So he passed away August 28th. 2020 of colon cancer. Okay. And there was a article from the Associated Press dealing with this Black Panther star. Chadwick Boseman dies of cancer at 43. You can check out that article as well. So today's the birthday of both Chadwick Boseman and Don Cheadle. All right. I talked about this at the beginning of the show. There's an article from USA Today. We posted about this dealing with Donald Trump's recount in Wisconsin. Didn't go too well for him. It was a waste of money. So Joe Biden gained 87 votes in Donald Trump's $3 million Wisconsin wheat recount. That averages out to about $34,400 a vote. That's what you paid. Okay, now he didn't have enough money to pay $8 million for a full recount in Wisconsin. Okay, so he got the skin, he got the discount pack. They hooked him up with a discount. Okay, so they recounted 2 counties for $3 million. Wisconsin's partial recount boosted Democrat Joe Biden's victory by 87 votes Sunday, as Donald Trump said he was preparing a lawsuit to overturn the results. Now, you can keep filing these lawsuits. You keep paying Rudy Giuliani $20,000 to stand up there and lie every day. It ain't going to overturn this. So what you should really do is you should call the Jim James, Paul and Tyrone Moving Company and tell them come help you pack your stuff. because January 20th, 2020 is moving day for you. So the completion of the recount prompted the Democratic leader of the State Elections Commission to say she would certify Joe Biden's victory on Monday, November 30th, clearing the way for Trump to file a lawsuit. But a Republican woman, Ann Jacobs, and that you can do what you want. It's not going to change. Okay, so they just realize this. All right, stand by watching on Facebook. All right, so you can do all the recounting you want. Is not going to change the results. Now, County wrapped up its retallying of the Dane County came, and that came 2 days after Milwaukee County finished this recount. Okay, Joe Biden net 132 votes in Milwaukee County, and Trump net 45 votes in Dane County. Together, that increased Joe Biden's statewide margin to 20,695 votes out of about 3 million cast. Trump's campaign paid $3 million to cover the cost of the recounts in Wisconsin's 2 most Democratic counties, so he could pursue a long shot lawsuit to claim the state's 10 electoral college votes. We know the electoral college votes December 14th. They're going to vote for Joe Biden. It's a wrap. So he needs to go ahead and pack his stuff. You can stop paying off all these frivolous lawsuits. By MSNBC's count, we posted it today on our Facebook pages. There have been 41 lawsuits. Let me pull this up here. There have been 41 lawsuits and 41 cases filed, 41 lawsuits filed, 7 other lawsuits withdrawn, 9 denied, 9 dismissed, 1 relief granted, 11 currently active. These are frivolous lawsuits. Washington Post reported November 28, 2020. Pennsylvania Supreme Court dismisses lawsuit against mail ballots with prejudice in another defeat for Trump. Pennsylvania Supreme Court dismisses lawsuit against mail ballots with prejudice in another defeat for Trump. Okay. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court dismissed with prejudice a Republican lawsuit seeking to invalidate more than 2.5 million votes cast by mail in the general election, the latest in a string of legal defeats for the GOP as Donald Trump fails to undo his losses in key battleground states. Justices on the state high court, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania, ruled unanimously late Saturday, November 28th, that Republican petitioners waited too long to file their suit challenging Act number 77, the 2019 law that established universal mail voting in Pennsylvania. Donald Trump allies had asked the court to invalidate all votes cast by mail in the most recent election or direct the majority Republican legislature to choose a slate of presidential electors. They wanted to direct the majority Republican state legislature to choose a slate of Republican presidential electors to actually cast their vote for Donald Trump on December 14th. The ruling with prejudice means the plaintiffs are barred from bringing another action on the same claim. That means you can't come back here with that nonsense. Get out of here with that. Because we see with these cases, when they go to court, they're not alleging fraud. Most of these cases are not alleging fraud because there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. You can't go into court talking that nonsense that you talk on Fox News. You can't go into court with that nonsense from Twitter. You can't go into court with that nonsense that you talked about in front of Four Seasons, Four Seasons Landscape next to the sex shop. when you go into court, you got to have evidence. If you make allegations of fraud, you got to be able to back that up because the attorneys are sworn in. So if they lie in court, they can be brought up on perjury charges. They can be sanctioned. There are consequences. You can't just go in there and hold a press conference. Then he was interviewed by on Fox News by Maria Bartiromo, I think it is, on Fox News. And he talked about a hearing that took place in Pennsylvania. That wasn't a hearing. That was a press conference. Hearings take place in court. He just lied some more. Okay. We posted this article here from Huffington Post. Fox News lets Trump spew lies unchecked in first interview since election. Maria Bartiromo sat back and let Trump push disinformation to her hundreds of thousands of viewers. She's going to get some backlash behind that. Okay, check out this article from Huffington Post from November 29th. Then Washington Post had this really good article. I like this one. How much time we have left in the show, Jalen? Trump's baseless election.
You have 2 minutes.
2 minutes, 2 or 3?
Yes.
Which one?
2 minutes.
2. Okay. Trump's baseless election fraud claims in Georgia turned Senate runoffs into a high wire act for Republicans. This is from November 29th, from Sunday, November 29th also. So Senator David Perdue of Georgia, Republican, was encouraging a crowd at a gun club south of Atlanta to support him and fellow Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler in their January 5th bid for Georgia's U.S. Senate. Now, the balance of who controls the Senate hinges on these 2 elections. This is why Democrats have to win control of these 2 Senate seats. So it'll be 50-50 Republican Democrats in the Senate. Madam Vice President Kamala Harris will get the tie-breaking vote. Chuck Schumer will be Senate Majority Leader and not Moscow Mitch McConnell. So in their bids for Georgia's Senate seat, which he called the only thing standing between America and, quote, a radical socialist agenda, end quote. But 5 minutes into the senator's speech, a man interrupted. He asked, "What are you doing to help Donald Trump in this fraud case?" The man screamed as one said, "Amen." And you want to bring church in? You want to bring God? You want to bring God into this? And the crowd applauded. What do you want to stop what's been going here in this election fraud? Okay. So once again, they're asking, so why should we keep donating money to you and you say it's fraud? Why should we vote and you say it's rigged? No, they're lying. It's not fraud, not rigged. You just lost. Check out this article here from the Washington Post. We're going to continue this discussion for a little while longer on our social media platforms at The African History Network on Facebook, Michael Imhotep on YouTube. You can donate to the African History Network, $, $TheAHNShow through Cash App, PayPal me / TheAHNShow through PayPal. Remember, right now, it's correct wrong behavior. It's not over there in Wakanda forever. We'll talk to you Monday night. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time. And Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll talk to you next time. Wakanda forever. Peace. Thanks for tuning in. The Ivy and Catalina visits and Brooklyn softball adventures are from authors Sidney Carujo, Brooklyn Carujo, and Dojo. In Ivy and Catalina visit Saleville, readers will join Ivy and Catalina at Saleville with their grant about the world of science, the learn about the structures and function of the cell. This book provides analogies that make the cell easy for kids. The book Brooklyn Softball Adventure takes readers on the journey with Brooklyn's first 2 seasons of ball. Through facing adversity, Brooklyn mates build their confidence and learn to love the game. The book encourages you to try new things. Ivy and Catalina visit Saleville is by Carujo and Dials Carujo. And Brooklyn Softball Adventures by Brooklyn Carujo and Dials Carujo. Both books are available right now at Amazon.com, BarnesNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com, and Target. The revolution not be televised. It will be digitized, coded, and branded. Don't let your young person get left behind. Join Core 2 Saturday, September 26, 2020 in the 6th straight year, providing tech, STEM, science, technology, engineering, coding, and classes. Tech Core 2's mission is to develop a technology pipeline program for urban youth from kindergarten to college to career entry. Tech Core 2 offers 9 different tech classes for students in grades kindergarten through high school, including computer programming, coding, gaming, hip-hop, and some video production. All classes are on live instruction. Register or for information, please visit techcore.org. techcore2.org, or give them a call at 25879-6741. That's 215-879-61. Don't forget to grab your $10 discount with promo code TAA Fall 2020. We'll continue for a couple more minutes. We got this broadcast. We'll continue for a couple more minutes. How's everybody doing? Erica, Tina, Robert, Aja, Greg. Okay. And then we'll post the information here if you want to donate to the African History Network also, because this really helps us stay on the air, keep doing 6 days a week. And then we also have the DVD bundle pack, The Africans Who Were Here Before Columbus, The Africans Who Were Here Before Columbus, and then Black Migration 1619 to 2019. We have a number of bundle packs in my lectures at our website, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. DVD lectures and digital download also, DVD lectures and digital download. And the Africans Who Were Here Before Columbus, that includes the double lecture I did with Dr. David Imhotep, who wrote the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. We did a double lecture together back in 2013. He's talking about his research, and he was actually talking about new research that he had uncovered as well in that lecture we did here in Detroit. All right, hold on just a second here. Yep, and here's my book. The book fell over on one of the stacks here. The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence by Dr. David Imhotep. Okay, so everybody share this broadcasting on social media platforms. Invite your friends to tune in also. We'll be here for a couple more minutes here. African American business owners, post name your business here on the thread of the broadcast. We'll let you know how you can advertise with the African History Network. We have a special promotion going on for probably 1 or 2 more days. Buy one to get 1 month free. Okay. And we'll create a commercial for you also. If you don't have one, we'll create a video commercial and audio commercial as well. So email us at customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, customerservice@AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. All right, I want to go back to this article here from the Washington Post. Trump's baseless election fraud claims in Georgia turn Senate runoffs into a high wire act for Republicans. So the Republican candidates in Georgia's dual Senate runoff campaign are navigating a highly unusual political labyrinth, caught in the middle of an intra-party war that has erupted since Donald Trump narrowly lost the state to President-elect Joe Biden and has turned his fire on the Republican leadership there. The infighting now threatens to turn off the very Republican voters Senator David Perdue, Republican, and Senator Kelly Loeffler, Republican, need to stave off challenges from their Democratic rivals, Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock. Donald Trump and his allies have repeatedly falsely accused Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and Governor Brian Kemp of Georgia, both Republicans. Donald Trump and his allies have repeatedly and falsely accused them of presiding over a fraudulent election. Trump has pushed the baseless claim that Dominion voting systems machines used in Georgia were rigged as part of a global conspiracy, and Senator David Perdue and Senator Kelly Loeffler have called for Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger's resignation. Just stupid. Now, my thing is, let these dumbasses fight it out. Let these dumbasses go ahead and fight it out, and people with sense in Georgia go vote for Jon Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock and vote these Republicans out of office in Georgia. Okay, let these dumbasses fight this out. But therein lies the conundrum. Senator Perdue and Senator Loeffler are traveling the state pleading with Republican voters to turn out on January 5th, effectively asking Trump supporters to put their faith in the same voting system that Donald Trump claims was manipulated to engineer his defeat. Just stupid. So you keep saying it's rigged, but you want them to go vote, and keep donating. Get the hell out of here. This stuff is coming back on them. The chickens are coming home to roost. All right. Then there was, we posted an article from the Huffington Post. This was one, Dr. Anthony Fauci was interviewed. Fauci warns of COVID surge Fauci warns of COVID-19 surge upon a surge as millions travel over holiday. Okay. That was from the Huffington Post. Let's pull that one up. Just a second here. We don't want to frighten people, but that's just the reality, the infectious disease expert said. This is from November 29th, 2020. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the top infectious disease expert on the White House's coronavirus task force, predicted Sunday, November 29th, that the number of COVID-19 infections will skyrocket over the next several weeks as millions of Americans travel during the holiday season. The U.S. experienced a surge in cases, hospitalizations, and deaths in recent months, and public health officials warned that those numbers could jump during the winter as Americans experience COVID fatigue. Now, okay. So Dr. Anthony Fauci and other task force members urged Americans to refrain from traveling to visit loved ones over the holidays to avoid spreading coronavirus. But millions of Americans bucked the advice and packed airports in the days leading up to Thanksgiving. On ABC this week, Dr. Anthony Fauci said, we have to be careful now. There's almost certainly there almost certainly is going to be an uptick because of what's happened with the travel. He went on to say, we may see a surge upon a surge. Okay, he said we may see a surge upon a surge. We don't want to frighten people, but that's just the reality. We said that these things would happen as we got into the cold weather and as we began traveling, and they've happened. It's going to happen again. He's absolutely correct. All right, so check out this article here from Huffington Post. We'll post a link here. Fauci warns of COVID-19 surge upon a surge as millions travel over the holidays. Okay. All right. And let me pull this up here. Okay, so remember, we're here Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. to 12 midnight Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, but we almost always go over Monday through Friday because that's just an hour. And then I've been doing Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sundays not for I've been doing that for 4 years on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF. In that bundle pack I was telling you about, the Africans, Black Migration 1619 to 2019. So you get my presentation, Black Migration 1619 to 2019. I deal with the movie The Birth of a Nation, The Red Summer 1919, The Great Migration. I deal with that 400-year anniversary also of August 2016-19. You get 6 principles of political self-defense, understanding how laws and policies impact the economic conditions of African Americans. When Black men dominated horse racing, and that deals with the history of African American jockeys. You get why did people switch from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party? That like a 3-hour presentation I did. Why Black people switched from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. We go back to the Lily White movement of 1928. The Lily White movement of 1928. You get Juneteenth history, deal with a whole history of Juneteenth history, Emancipation Day, not Independence Day, 40 Acres and a Mule. Also deal with Dr. King's Poor People's campaign also. And you get Ancient Africans in America Before Native Americans, Columbus, or Slavery. So it's a 6 DVD bundle pack. And it's also available on digital download as well. Black Migration 1619 to 2019. And we have the one I did, the 8 DVD bundle pack, The Africans Who Were Here Before Columbus. Then we also have the double lecture I did with Dr. Imhotep, who wrote the book, The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. So his book is out of print. His new book should be out in hopefully December. But we have the double lecture available that he and I did together. We'll post the link here for it also. It's a 2 DVD set. Did this lecture back in 2013. Okay. And we'll post the link here for that also. All right. And let me check here. I want to make sure I got through all the topics here. It's been a very busy busy weekend. Let me see here just a second. Okay. And then we'll deal with, let me see. What time is we'll deal with this Monday night. November 26, 1861, West Virginia became a state. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that history Monday night. Okay. We ran out of time here. So we'll definitely cover that on Monday's show. All right, here's the link for the double lecture deal with Dr. David Imhotep. There we go. The first is a 2 DVD set. The First Americans Were Africans, Documented Evidence. Also, we have a lecture that Dr. Francis Cress Welsing did in 2013, also here in Detroit as well. All right. Okay. So I posted the link here to the double lecture that I did with Dr. David Imhotep from 2013. All right, look, hey, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back Monday night. We're going to get out of here. We'll be back Monday night. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent. Remember, at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and inspiring people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world, because right now, knowledge corrects wrong behaviors. Not over till we win. Wakanda forever. All right, we'll talk to you all Monday night. Thanks for tuning in. Peace. The books Ivy and Cassellville and Ball Advent are from Albany Carujo, and Shadow's Carujo. In Ivy and Catalina visit Sellville, readers will Ivy and Catalina as the small town of with their grandparents about the world of science. Those will learn the structures and functions. This provides great analysis that make learning about the cell for kids. The book Brooklyn Adventures takes readers on the journey with Brooklyn through her first 2 playing ball. Through facing adversity, teammates learn to love the game. Encourages children to do things except beat. Ivy and Catalina visit Cell, Sydney Carujo, and Carujo. And Brooklyn's Soft Ventures is by Carujo and Shanine Carujo. Both books are available at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com, and Target.com. Author Linda Merritt is the author of 2 books, Merit Magic and Age Area Spiritual Reading. In the book Merit Magic, this book is about the civil rights movement of the 1960s and how her family played a very important role in this movement. It is about all of the civil rights leaders, such as Martin Luther King, Reverend Jackson, John Lewis, and many others of this nation who came to her small Georgia town and started the movement that spread across the nation. This book tells the one story of 3 powerful women who did amazing things because they had inherited special gifts from their African ancestry and used them to help cause. These ancestral gifts seem to have been forgotten at this stage in our history. The second book, Age of Aquarius, Spiritual Reckoning, discusses the relationship between humans and the 10 spheres of the Tree of Life. Author Melinda Merritt was able to show some very interesting facts about the present past presidents of the United States as it relates to what they did with office. The current president is living up to the negative impact he has brought to this space. This book shows how astrology impacts people in ways that they may not be aware of. It discusses the change of religion in this country, as we can easily see. There is a major change happening in that area. Visit the website merit-magic.com. That's merit-magic.com, MERRIT, and get both books for $20. Taste of the world famous No Frowny Brownie Yet Bakery? If not, for they are gluten-free and free allergens. Eating brownies, the fabulous brown, they were very good. And it says they are. Pink Bakery is the first black Big 8 allergy mix company. To the Pink Bake, that's bakery.com, to No Frowny Mix today.
Melanized Media is an independent black-owned and operated film company. We specialize in producing culturally enriched black films and videos at melanizedmedia.com. Join us every Sunday for Melanized Nights, where we're a soul-conscious documentary film or black historic presentation. That's every evening at 7 p.m. Visit melanizedmedia.com to learn more and to register. That's MELNEYES media.com.